Hello everyone, Tactical Lich here. Recently, the patch 4.2 just dropped, and I decided to go on to ranked multiplayer and try out some of the new toys of the Lizard Boys. And on the other side, I ran into my clanmate from Night Crew Clan, Anti-Kaiju there, going with the Tzeentch roster, also deploying some of the new units. So this will be a battle between two rosters that got some recent updates. Now, for the Lizardmen army build, we have a front line of skinks, some of them with javelins, and of course they're backed up by the newly updated Kroxigors, who not only have the primal instincts for additional offensive stats, predatory fighter as well, but on top of that, the new Spawnkin synergy with skink units, providing them with extra weapon damage in melee combat. Very nice combo with the skinks and providing me with a very strong skink and Kroxigor rush army. For the rest of the army, we have a ton of mobility, 3 cold ones, and then 4 more flying units, 2 of them the Pterodon Riders and 2 more Riperdactyl Riders. Leading the army would be a rather niche lord, not Slan, not Saurus, and not Kroxigors either. It is indeed Tenhuan on his cold one mount, coming in with a couple of spells. Flock of Doom, very staple, and on top of that, Curse of Onra to really support my melee line and bust through enemy defenses. As for the other side, we have the Tzeentch army here, a front line of Chaos Warriors, a second line of Blue Horrors, and further back the Sour Gut. They're flanked by some Centaurs of Tzeentch, and the army would be led by a Tzeentch Goon Squad here, 2 melee character, the Chaos Lord of Tzeentch, very nice anti-large duelist, and then we have the Exalted Hero as well. And supporting them is a very tiny cultist of Tzeentch. You can see the size differences of these units are quite obvious. Anyways, he is coming in with Burning Head to clear out skinks, I assume, and the Cascading Fire Cloak. That's it for the army builds. Now let's get the battle started. This battle was played on the Southern Chaos Waste map, which if I remember correctly can be a bit buggy. When replays are shown on this map, it might be a bit laggy, but other than that, let's proceed with the battle as the Tzeentch character Goon Squad is charging out, going after one of the skink cohorts. Knowing that I don't have any way to stop these Tzeentch characters, my opponent safely throw them into the skink cohorts, doing some nice impact damage, while the rest of the skink and Kroxigor frontline marches on straight for the Tzeentch frontline. In the skies, the mobility is a bit lagging behind. I do need to work on my micro a bit, though they shall be able to move into position rather soon with their superior speed. Anyway, skink cohorts are charging into the Chaos Warriors of Tzeentch, and same goes for these Kroxigors here. Charging through their own infantry, it's not gonna be as effective, but still, damage is damage. Now they're under heavy fire from multiple units of horrors. Thankfully, the thick hide of these Kroxigors, 100 armor plus the scaly skin, providing them with 15% of missile resistance, allows them to tank out quite a bit of all these non-armor piercing missile damage. Now, the Javelin skin cohorts are standing still and chucking javelins at the Blue Horse, doing some nice damage, but this one here got hit by a Burning Head and is promptly routed. With the Kroxigors here getting so low in HP, I'll be throwing in my Feral Cold ones and Riperdactyl Riders to silence some of those Tzeentch firepower. And the Kroxigors actually managed to stabilize their leadership for a bit here, despite taking so much missile damage. They do have a bit of extra melee attack though, thanks to the primal instincts activate at less than 50% HP, so they can be more effective at hitting these Chaos Warriors of Tzeentch. On the other flank, Riperdactyl Riders are also dropping down. Some of the Kroxigors actually slip through the gaps of the Tzeentch defenses, getting on top of the Blue Horrors and using that damage boost from the skink synergy to quickly put the Blue Horrors into demonic instability. The Centaurs right now are charging in against the Riperdactyl Riders. Their armor piercing is pretty much wasted on the Riperdactyls, but their charge bonus is still nice to work down the skink flyers. On the other flank there, these Centaurs are stuck on some skink cohorts, definitely wasting a bit of their melee potential as they are desperately needed to come over here and start breaking these Riperdactyl Riders. They are taking a lot of damage from the Tzeentch character Goon Squad, but they should be able to move out with their superior speed. Now the Centaurs over here from the right has wrapped around to deal with these Riperdactyls, though at this point the Riperdactyls already routed back into the skies and are out of reach from the Centaurs on the ground. I also dropped a Flock of Doom here, trying to drain away the health of the Tzeentch units in the vicinity. I think this is the first time I cast spells in the entire combat as I forgot to use magic on Tzeentch. Sour Guts are continuously firing at my Pterodon Riders, but the Pterodon Riders are just dropping in just to silence them, and will be followed up with a Kroxigor charging in as well. I also did a bit of rock drop earlier in the game, so the Pterodon Riders are now out of rocks. We missed it, but they did do some good damage with the rock drops, but that also means they don't have any good ways to quickly clear out the enemy infantry. The Centaurs of Tzeentch are now fighting with a bit of Cascading Fire Cloak, boosting their melee defense, but I'll be countering with a Curse of On-Ride Air, nuking their defensive stats and also melee attack stats as well. Plus the Flock of Doom draining their health and then being overwhelmed by a force of Projectile Riders and 2 Feral Cold Ones. These Centaurs are quickly breaking, temporarily granting my units a bit of attack and speed boost. Not that they're gonna make use of that anyways, because the characters of Tzeentch have moved away from them. The Feral Cold Ones will spend a bit of time chasing after the routed Centaurs, making sure they're not coming back and eliminating any armor-piercing support for the Tzeentch characters, while I'll be swarming the Tzeentch characters with my own armor-piercing units. At the same time, I'm sending units over to deal with the Sour Guts as they're now overwhelmed by a bunch of lizard units. They're already disrupted by some of the Pterodon Riders, and then the follow-up from the Kroxigors will be putting that nail in the coffin. Now even the Skinks are jumping into the fight, so the Sour Guts are pretty much a goner. More Skink cohorts pile onto the characters, making sure they aren't going anywhere as the rest of my mobility are just cleaning up any separated Tzeentch forces. There's one Chaos Warrior isolated on the far side, and the combined forces of Skinks and Kroxigors will be smacking him down with the Spawn Kin boosting the weapon damage of the Kroxigors. While over here we have some Sour Guts crumbling, and then the Chaos Warriors who are returning to combat will be promptly dealt with by a pursuing force of Kroxigor and Skinks. Perhaps some of these Pterodon Riders can drop in as well, but looks like it's no longer needed as the Kroxigors are enough to help out the Skinks and break these units, giving themselves yet again some more speed boost from the predatory instinct to catch up with these fleeing warriors. A Burning Head going down the line here should be able to deal with the Skink chaff. Projectiles though have regrouped despite taking severe damage and just watching their brethren getting burnt and fleeing from the fire. Tzeentch also noped out of that fight early, making sure he doesn't get double teamed by the 2 anti-large Tzeentch characters. He has put enough distance between him and the Tzeentch Goon Squad. This gives the Kroxigors some more time to just reinforce this section of battle. They have piled onto some of the regrouped Chaos Warriors and the Centaurs, forcing the Tzeentch characters to join this fight and support their minions. Pterodon Riders flocking into the fight as well, just trying to overwhelm this unit of Centaurs. The Kroxigors will be moving in, and a bit of change or die from the new Chaos Lord of Tzeentch, boosting the leadership and damage resistance for the Centaurs. And once again, we are going into a bit of choppiness, but that seems to be stabilized right now. Kroxigors engaging in combat once again, getting that predatory fighter with the additional +5 melee attack boost, which is a pretty nice buff in the middle of a melee fight. If they're down to less than half health, they can actually receive another stack of attack buff, all thanks to Primal Instincts giving that extra +5 melee attack when their HP runs low. Though right now they still seems to be quite healthy and will not be activating the ability until they take a few more hits from the Tzeentch characters. There's a debuff spell coming in, so it's probably Curse of On-Ride Air to debuff the Tzeentch melee units, since Flock of Doom doesn't do much against single characters. That will be debuffing the melee stats of all these Tzeentch units, allowing my troops to be a bit more effective in combating the Tzeentch Goon Squad. Putting in a few more hits onto this routed exalted hero of Tzeentch, I should be able to put in enough mobility to just keep this character routing and slowly break apart that Tzeentch character Goon Squad. The cultist of Tzeentch here getting a little bit ahead of himself, separating him from the other 2 characters, presumably trying to break off my routed units, but right now he is also exposed to the pursuit of Tzeentch and the Kroxigors. He is now tied down a bit, but he will be slipping away from my pursuit, trying to re-engage into combat on the other side of the battlefield and reconvene with Chaos Lord of Tzeentch. He is running for his life, but Tzeentch is also hot in pursuit. The charge animation actually helped him catch up. The Pterodon Riders are in a better position to block him, but alas, he still managed to get through the interception. Dropping in another Burning Head here, routing the Skink Hordes. Now it's only the Kroxigors and Tenhui in this blob here, fighting against a still very much healthy Chaos Lord of Tzeentch. The Cultists of Tzeentch, though, not feeling too hot, being debuffed by poison from Tenhui, and don't forget Tenhui is on a Code 1 mount, so he does have armor piercing, and did manage to do some good hits on the Cultists of Tzeentch. Now, Chaos Lord of Tzeentch once again activating the Change or Die ability, and adding that leadership, keeping the Cultists of Tzeentch in the fight. But once that wears off, the Cultists will soon get routed, as I do have an overwhelming force of armor-piercing units surrounding the two characters. Now the Cultists of Tzeentch is routed, and perhaps one of these Kroxigors can enjoy the Predatory Instinct, boosting their melee attack, but alas, I don't think they have those off cooldown just yet, so no melee attack boost for them other than the default Primal Instinct, providing the melee attack and physical resistance. Now the Chaos Lord of Tzeentch is truly alone. He does have some anti-large capabilities, especially Colossal Strike, adding additional weapon damage and bonus versus large, but right now he's not feeling too hot right now. Having a bigger unit model also means that he is easier to get hit by more unit models at once, and all the armor piercing is coming through from the side and from the rear, so he is taking more and more damage, being surrounded by a ton of lizard units. Some Tzeentch warriors managed to muster the last bit of their courage, rushing into combat once again to aid their liege lord. That is merely gonna rout off the Skink Hordes, while the warriors themselves do not have enough AP to cut through the Kroxigor's thick hide, and they themselves are getting a beating from all those armor-piercing attack damage. And if the Chaos Warriors rout, that will add another stack of +5 melee attack to the Kroxigors here, temporarily getting 40 melee attack and putting in even more hits on the Chaos Lord of Tzeentch. Army losses hit, and that shall seal the fate of the Tzeentch army. GG to Anti-Kaiju, and thank you for playing the game against me. Not gonna lie, I think the Kroxigors might be a bit too strong these days. They have received some buffs a few patches ago, and they have been decent ever since, and now with the new Skink synergy and the attack buffs from the Predatory Fighter and Primal Instincts, they are a very good offensive troop. Plus they have a decent mass to pin down enemy troops and all of that, so definitely a solid monstrous infantry. And then we have the Reproductile Riders here, not doing a whole lot of damage. Same goes for the Pterodon Riders. Most of the heavy lifting were done by the Kroxigors and a bit by Tenhui with the Flock of Dooms. For the Skink Chaff, they didn't really do much here, just there to soak up some damage and provide that Spawnkin synergy with the Kroxigors. For the Tzeentch army here, the Senegals of Tzeentch didn't do that much damage. Same goes for the Chaos Warriors, as they got crumped by the Kroxigors. Sour Guts though did some really good work, and the Blue Horse earned back most of their value. The character Goon Squad doesn't seem to be that good, actually. The Chaos Lord of Tzeentch actually did quite a bit of damage, but they seem to struggle when being surrounded by monstrosities. They can fight stuff one-on-one, I suppose, but against units with multiple models, they are easily surrounded and beaten up. And yeah, that's all for the battle today. What do you think about the new Warhammer units, the new changes to the game in patch 4.2? If you have any thoughts, feel free to drop a comment down below and share your thoughts. Anyways, that's it for today's battle. I hope you all enjoy this multiplayer session, and if you want to see more Total Warhammer content, be sure to subscribe to my channel. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Tactical Lich, signing out.